Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the major HIT-45TG3, except not really. This is a template guide. This is a template guide for Sears Craftsman routers. This isn't likely the major version. This is actually the Sears Craftsman version, the original version of this, and we're supplying this to a client who ordered the HIT-45TG3, except that major discontinued those. So we were able to source a stash of the original Sears Craftsman item. And this video is to show you what that looks like and to provide you some dimensional properties of it. So let's do the dimensional properties of it, then we'll talk about what it's for. The diameter, about 2 7/8. Okay, that's obviously important to know that it will at least fit your router. It strikes me that it might be nice to know where that screw is located. So about 5/16 from the end, and you can see that there are a total of 3 that are there. So I'm going to go with 120 degrees separated from each other. The important component of any template guide, the only if you know that a template guide is compatible with your router, it'll bolt onto the base. The only thing then that's important is the diameter of the guide itself. This is 0.629, 5/8, basically 5/8. That's what is ultra important, that 5/8 diameter. So when you are mortising doors, aluminum frames, wood doors, wood frames, aluminum doors, aluminum frames, whatever you're doing, and you're going to use a router, you're going to have a template that you're going to apply to the door, the frame, whatever you're doing. The hole, the size of the profile or the silhouette inside of the template is going to be a specific size. You can measure all of that. The size that the hardware requires that you mortise, you can measure all of that. That dimension and the prior dimension, they're not the same dimension. They're different only by an extrapolation of the diameter of that guide. And I should say the diameter of the bit as well. If you were to take a template for a piece of hardware and use a guide that's too big or too small, your hardware prep will either be too large or too small. It won't be correct, because as the diameter of that changes, the relationship of where the bit is to where it's riding against the template as you pattern through it will be different. I've had a client of mine, it wasn't major material, it was sauce hinges. The client used the original sauce 216 IT or the 218 IT. We sold him just the hinges and the template itself. Didn't sell him a guide or a router bit. Gentleman calls me up. Very, very nice gentleman. Very, very amenable, agreeable, polite, gentlemanly. Says, hey, I bought these hinges. He bought a whole mess of them, a couple $1,000s worth. And he's like, man, the hinges are too tight. They don't fit in really well. So I pull up the order. We sent you the template. We knew that the template was right. We sent him the hinges. We knew the hinges were right because we measured all that. And I says, well, what diameter do you have? Oh, I've got the Porter cable. Well, what's the diameter of the guide that you have? And he told me, that checked out, whatever it was, 3/8 of an inch, I forget. And I had said to him, well, I noticed that we didn't sell you either a guide or a bit. So we knew that the OD of the guide was correct, and the only variable left was the bit. And it turned out that the size of the bit that the client was using was 1/8 of an inch smaller. It may have been a 3/8 bit needed. Don't quote me, I just don't recall. And they may have been using a 1/4 inch, or it was a 1/4 inch, but they were using a 3/16 bit. Something so slight that they could still kind of push the hinge in. The point of the matter is you must have the right template to achieve the right template used in confluence with the proper diameter router guide, with the proper diameter router bit to achieve that net size in the door or frame, whatever you're doing. And that's the bottom line of what this is. So will we be able to fulfill these in the future? I hope so. We did find a stash of this old Sears Craftsman material, 3/4 inch. It will hopefully include these 3 screws. This is going to basically drop. You'll remove your router base from the bottom of the router. You'll drop this in. You will then screw it from the bottom into these tapped holes, and you're off to the races. Let's switch to the screen view, and let's just take a closer look at some supporting information. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. All right, so here's the item that we are looking at. That's not the actual image. Let's look at the actual item. This is what we are actually shipping to the client. The important part is that 5/8. And just showing different perspectives. This material that's on my desk is very likely decades old. Several and many, most likely. Then we have original installation instructions that would have included this. 25069. It may have been a S-25069. I forget the part number. But this is a great example of what you use these for. Yeah, no date on this at all, but I'm going to say the 1970s. Shows you the concept of what they're used for, doing butt hinges, whatever it is. And it wouldn't be unusual to sell 3 of these guides because you'll be doing different work. Cabinet work here, obviously. Doing a dovetail joint for a drawer front and the sides. Butts on a door, hinges on a door. But you can review this document. We won't go through it. It's just there really for archival purposes mostly. All right, now extended description information here down below. I'll leave that to you to review. We'll point out to you the link to the product brochure, which is here, which admittedly is, an outdated product catalog because, well, they don't offer these G3s anymore, which are here. I'm going to have to also think the G1 is no longer available. Ryobi. This is what I'm accustomed to, Porter cable. It just threads over the base. Router bits. Different templates are here as well for your review. Then there's a link to instructions. And this is basically the the major version of the original instructions. Attach it down once you've made sure everything is the right size and you're off. You are off. There is a link below this video as seen here to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the major products that we sell by means of this horizontal navigation as seen here, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. And I would certainly recommend reviewing that if looking for templates, specialty hardware installation aids, jigs, some people call them, for drilling function holes in lock preps in doors and frames, electric strikes, flush bolts. Very, very little is not covered in the major offering of material. The HIT-45 platform is great. It'll allow you to do a mortise pocket in the edge. It'll allow you to do function holes. Do most everything that you need. Kits of this material. If you know you're doing aluminum storefront, you can buy a kit for that sort of application if you bump into it routinely. Nice assembly of material. Let's wrap up this video on camera. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Okay, so if you have any questions on the HIT-45TG3, or meaning a router guide that will work on your Craftsman with the right size, feel free to reach out to us. Hopefully you're looking for something that Major makes that's not discontinued, but I understand why they may discontinue or may have discontinued this item. I mean, Sears, as far as I know, is not even an entity anymore, which is too bad. I think every person who's older than a certain age has a fond memory of having bought their first at Sears. I bought my first VCR at Sears well, there was always one at my parents' house, but when I moved out, I needed a VCR. It was 1991. I think I spent $1,100 on it. It's now 30 years later, it still works. And I think a lot of people have that same, or the Sears Auto Care, where you go in and buy a battery, return the old one. Any questions on this Sears Craftsman router guide or any other major product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you. Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.